Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Connection Corner. I'm Barb Nangle. I'm the community manager of Known, and I am really excited because I'm actually at Known. I came back today, first time after the pandemic. So it's been a year and 2 months since I've been here. First time we've ever broadcast the Connection Corner from the space. I'm in the media room, which is also called the attic, and it's a fantastic space. I also have a new camera set up, so it might take a little bit of getting used to for me. And so forgive me if I'm not looking right into the camera. Today, I'm really excited to welcome Kimberly Pedrick. She owns two retail mainstays on Chapel Street, downtown New Haven, Idiom and Dwell. And we're also welcoming the owner of Known, Juan Salas-Romer. He's going to be my co-host today. And Kimberly is going to talk about retail, ways in which she's pivoted her two businesses and how it looks really different based on the types of retail businesses they are, and sort of the future of retail. So before I bring them on, I want to share a little bit about Known. It's a dynamic co-working community to connect people across their fields of expertise, endeavors, and experiences. And though we started as this physical co-working space here in downtown New Haven, and we're still the only co-working place in downtown New Haven, we moved our community to the digital world once the quarantine started. As a reminder, here at Known, we have hourly, daily, and monthly plans for dedicated desks and offices, as well as conference rooms and Zoom rooms available for rent. If you want to know more about any of that, please email me, barb@knowncoworking.com. You can also check us out on our website, which is nhvknown.com, or follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Known Coworking. Go ahead and DM us there and we'll get back to you. I mentioned that we moved our community online when the pandemic arrived. And as a result, we now have three virtual programs: Digital Media Sync, Connection Corner, and Pivot Talk. And you can catch replays for free of all of our episodes, of all of them, on our website. It's under Known Live. Digital Media Sync is your window to the digital world. It airs every Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning. It's hosted by Julia Gambale. She is the social media maven of Agents of Branding. Pivot Talk is a virtual stage for business to share and learn as they grow. And this show, The Connection Corner, is a place for entrepreneurs, artists, creatives, thinkers, etc., to share who they are, what they do, who they serve, why, and how. And if you or anyone you know would like to be on any one of these programs, go ahead and shoot me an email. Again, it's barb@knowncoworking.com. Our purpose in both the physical and virtual spaces is to make connections between people. We're here to help you get connected, inspired, and known. And then speaking of getting known, I host virtual networking every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. You can find us by going to our website, nhvknown.com, and click on events and scroll down, and you'll see the graphic for virtual networking. Click on that, and that'll take you right to where we are. And you're welcome to come for any part of that hour, any Monday. And it's my pleasure and my job to connect people. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Kimberly and Juan. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you.
Wonderful. Great. I'm so glad. And it was actually quite a serendipitous event that caused me to invite Kimberly. I had gone downtown because I had a Mad Libs emergency. I needed a Mad Libs pad, and I was going to Atticus. And I stopped in front of Idiom because I always buy. I'm not wearing them today because the weather is warm, but I wear these fingerless gloves, and I always get them at Idiom. And she was standing outside of the store, and I said, "Are you open?" And she said, "No, but I'll open for you." And so we started chatting, and I was like, "I should have you on the Connection Corner," and here we are. So this is the kind of serendipitous connection that happens here in the physical space all the time at Known. So I think what we'll have you do, Kimberly, is talk a little bit about your stores and what's happened with them. And then Juan and I will come back, and I'm sure we'll have all kinds of fantastic conversation about, questions for you and thoughts we have about what's going on. But before we do that, Juan, do you want to say a couple words before we let Kimberly do her thing?
Well, absolutely, Barb. I'm so excited that you're actually using the media room, and I'm so much looking forward to the way we were operating back in February of 2019.
Mhm.
It seems that that way, number of calls and emails that we're getting, it seems that we're going to have the place pretty packed, and the calendar of events. We need to speed up all that. So there's a bunch of new
Yeah.
things that are coming. And on top of that, one thing that I just want to make sure that everybody knows that the main also aside from the different shows, we also started the entrepreneurs program, which is a entrepreneurial growth program for BIPOC entrepreneurs in the community. And you're going to hear more about this. We're going to open the applications the next month. We just had our first cohort, graduated 12 businesses, and we're looking forward to more. Uh, Kimberly, welcome. Uh,
All
nice.
right. Well, Kimberly, take it away.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I am currently at Idiom right now. Idiom is at 1014 Chapel Street, and my other store, Dwell New Haven, is at 1022 Chapel. So many times during the day, with my dog in tow, you will see me running back and forth between the two shops. So just a little bit of background about how I ended up in New Haven. I was prior living and working up in Boston, and I was in large department store retail. And I realized that I loved retail. It was something that I greatly enjoyed, and I wanted to take it to the next level. So I started looking for existing businesses for sale. My parents lived in Connecticut, so I figured if I was going to move, why not move closer to them? I had only been to New Haven when I was around 8 for Pepe's Pizza and the Big Apple Circus. So many years later, coming down to New Haven, walking along Chapel Street, just it connected. Everything just felt right. There was an existing store for sale at the time. It was called Endelman Gallery, and it had been an established store within the community for, at that point, around 20 years. And I saw an opportunity, and I moved down to New Haven. I now own a home in New Haven and 2 businesses, so definitely vested in the community. So I've had Idiom now for 15 years, and a little over 3 years ago, I opened Dwell. So Idiom is apparel, artisan jewelry, and accessories. We like to say head to toe dressing. When you come in, you can get the shoes, the handbag, and the entire outfit, and some jewelry to complement the look as well. During the 5 years or so ago, I started adding gift items to Idiom. We had a gifting section. We had some baby onesies, we had candles, and just kept expanding upon it. It was performing well, and I saw an opportunity to open a store that catered to gift giving, and we like to call it the Dwell lifestyle. So Dwell is a mixture of kitchen, home, baby, bath and body, and all curated and a mixed assortment of things that hopefully bring pleasure to your everyday life and to those around you. So that is my retail background. Perhaps we can show some photos of the stores just to give you a little bit of idea of what the stores do cater to. So Idiom, in this photo, I am wearing one of our jackets from Clara Sun Wu, a designer, and the artisan jewelry pieces. So the artisan jewelry is a collection of handcrafted pieces from artists all around the country. We definitely feature and love having some of our local designers Susan Roberts from Brantford, Wendy Michaels from the Westport area. So we do feature local as well, but it is just really centric on artisan handcrafted. This was a photo of when we closed, which was March 17th was our last day in the shop with COVID, and we were closed from March 17th through the last week of May. And during that time, definitely pivoted, had to. Thanks, Barb, for showing those. So, oh, and then this is the photos of Dwell a little with the logo, the gold logo, and then this is the storefront, and with the logo and packaging. I always believe, obviously the gift inside is so important, but that you want the presentation of the gift to be just as special when you're giving it to someone. So we really do take care in our packaging with the gift items. And yes, this is the front area of Dwell, which merchandising is definitely one of my favorite aspects of retail. So something that I greatly enjoy doing, going in and just basically making little vignettes throughout the store and trying to tell a story within each area. But yes, definitely pivoted during that time frame when we were closed. I took the opportunity. We had websites at both stores, but I took the downtime and the opportunity to switch over to Shopify. Something that I'd been looking into, but this gave me my undivided attention and time to devote to it. So at Dwell, I started the website over there with Shopify and really built it from beginning to end. And it was great to work with, user friendly, and adding the products, etc. And then I decided to also use our point of sale over there. And since that process went well and I was able to launch that mid-May, still had a little bit of time, so I started building the website for Idiom. So that was one of the major things that kind of took us to the level that we needed to get to, regardless of a pandemic or not. Website was definitely imperative and something that, 9 to 5 daily life, being at the store, I just didn't have the time to devote to it. So I made, lemonade out of lemon, and really had time to do that.
Great. That sounds like a good point for us to hop in. And I know that one of the reasons that Juan wanted to join us today was because he had all kinds of great questions for Kimberly. And actually, one of the things I want to say, before you guys talk, is that when I was talking about Kimberly to Juan, I'm like, oh, he just joined the board of the community, of the chamber, the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, and he's on the board of the New Haven Town Green District. And she was like, wait, I just joined the board. I'm on the green. So they're going to be working together. So this is really fortuitous. So there's so many things that kind of came together in this meeting. So, okay, floor is yours, Juan.
Well, let me lead from there. So let me take some of the aspects that you talked about. I find it very interesting how you have pivoted your business, and in particular, how you, because one of the things that we discuss at the town meetings about New Haven is how retail, and you seem to endure the changes that it's been you've been in business for 15 years or more, and you seem to be able to pivot and find. So what do you attribute that you've been able to be able to move according to how the market has gone?
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Yeah, for retail, being downtown in New Haven for 15 years, I feel very happy that we have weathered this storm. And I think it is in large part due to the community and our very loyal client base. So over the years, we have built a very strong following. And there have obviously, throughout the years, there have been ebbs and flows within the business, but those loyal clientele, and this has definitely been the most trying of times by far, but the loyal clientele, no matter what, has come in and supported and shopped and really shown us that they get that if they don't support their local downtowns, the downtowns, unfortunately, local shops won't be able to make it. So I think it's also more than just coming in and buying a top or at Dwell, more than just buying that candle. It's the, as I talked about, the packaging, the atmosphere, the hopefully superior customer service that you receive. It's not only about the products, it really is more all-encompassing. So it's an experience. I hope that people come down and go to lunch at Claire's, come shopping at Idiom, go into Dwell, go and see Tom at Rags, that to make an experience and a day in New Haven. There's so much to offer as a community, and I think once people come down and go to the, now that the Yale Art Gallery is open, that's amazing. So spend the day at the Art Gallery and just really take in all that New Haven has to offer. So I can't say that it's only what we're doing. It's our community partners too. We're a Yale property, and university properties, the shops at Yale have been so extremely supportive throughout this time. The lines of communication were open. They would pop in, just check to see how we were doing. So it really is a partnership. Town Green, as we chatted about, they are doing so many amazing things for the betterment of this community. So it's not that any of us can really do it alone. I could have these amazing ideas and great product, but if we can't get people to come to New Haven as a destination, we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
So I really do think New Haven embraces that. And
So
yeah,
happy to-
agreed. And excuse me for a second, Juan, I'm sorry, but when you said it's loyal clientele, I was thinking, yeah, you say that as if anybody has loyal clientele, but I'm glad you talked about, you know, the experience. It's the very, you know, you pay very much attention to your customer service. You talked about, like, you tell a story in Dwell with your little vignettes, and you have high quality products. And you pay it, so you're paying attention to detail, is what I'm hearing here. And so it's that and the connection to the community. So I was glad to hear, because I was like, you know, you say it's loyal clientele, like that just sort of happened, but it didn't happen out of nowhere. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's, I think, a conscious effort that you have to make and continue to make on a daily basis. That is a relationship that keeps evolving and growing, and you can offer certain things, but once you offer that for a while, you have to switch it up too. And that, I think, after 15 years, I've realized that things that I did in the beginning need to change that way, that you have to keep evolving. And that was with the website too. It was definitely time to have that option for customers.
Kimberly, how do you know what people want?
That's I'm a very decisive person, I would say, for the most part. So as far as buying goes, I can look at something and I don't hem and haw too long at the shows. I know what I like. I look for quality. It's obviously not pieces that, especially for Idiom, that I'm necessarily going to wear. If we did that, we would have all A-line dresses in Idiom, and our sales figures would probably not be that great, because not everyone can wear an A-line dress. So I have, but there's certain things, it's my shop, so I want to be able to sell it and believe in the product. So there has to be something about each piece that almost speaks to me. So is it fabrication? Is it the details on it? Various aspects that really need to come together for me to bring the line into the store. And for Dwell is, I would say, a little easier, for lack of a better term, to buy for, because you're not worrying about color. Like, I can find a top that I like, but then not only do you have to figure out So you have that part figured, but then it's sizing. And then what color do you want that top to come in? Should it be printed? Should it be striped, etc.? Where Dwell, it's a little more streamlined, the buying process, I would say. And Dwell, yeah, it's until you come in, it sounds like quite the mix of things that how can that all work in one environment of a little over 1,000 square feet? But I will tap myself on the back for that one. I think it all comes to the merchandising of it. It could look like a complete mishmash in there, but once you go in and do the merchandising of it, it does seem to flow and make sense.
Right.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and I think one of the things you said at the beginning when you started telling your story when you were back in Boston, you said, I love retail. And I think that's part of the secret, because I worked in retail as a young adult and I hated it. And I've known many people who hate it. And it's like, it doesn't matter. If you love something, you can make it whatever you want to make it. And so I think that that's sort of the key. I love retail is where Kimberly started. And so she's expressing her love through the way that she's merchandising her stores and doing her customer service and doing the packaging and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I would like to know more about how you shifted to online, because a lot of the retail that we see, the bricks and mortar stores, sometimes they come to us in our workshops and all that, and they wanna know more about how can they shift to like a Shopify or their own online store. So could you elaborate a little bit how you make that shift?
Of course, yeah. So during that time frame, starting with Dwell, I think, was the right place to start, because the products, you don't need to try them on. You can basically look at them and see what the products are with decent descriptions that way. So starting there, I think, was the place to begin. And we also offered curbside pickup. So that was something people definitely during the time frame were doing. So not only were we mailing things out in the beginning, it was more curbside pickup that customers were doing. Plus we were launching it, so we got buzz from the launch that way. So curbside pickup. And in the beginning, it was, I would say, people that knew about us, obviously, were going onto our Instagram and seeing that we launched the website, so going on. But that also was people that kind of knew about us. Now we are fortunately getting web sales from other areas of the country. So it is definitely expanding and becoming another piece of our business model that we can hopefully keep growing that way. So their Shopify, I would highly recommend. I personally really found it very user-friendly to set up, and their customer service was fantastic. Anytime I had a question, could call and they would walk it through with me. And then we did do, you can do a basic model, but I did do a little upgraded to purchase a template just to make it a little more specialty that way. And photos and everything I ended up doing myself for both sites. So at Dwell, being a little different business model has transitioned a little easier. Idiom, I think there's definitely opportunity with the website. However, it is a bit more challenging because, as I mentioned, I could have a shirt in this print in the store. However, the vendor may only be featuring it in photos in another color. So we really have to take our own photos for the Idiom website. So during the pandemic, myself and my mother were the models because who else do you get to model during a pandemic? So that part just takes a little more time. It's not as easy as just going on and grabbing a photo, unfortunately. So that one's a little more time consuming and a work in progress, I would say, where the Dwell ones, that site's kind of functioning on its own a little easier.
Yeah.
Are people still doing curbside pickup?
It definitely has petered out. I would say, though, until I would say even like end of March, beginning of April, we were still getting. So it has, every now and again, probably at this point, maybe once every other week at Dwell we are. I think for a lot of people, it's just more convenient, which we love, and we'll keep offering that. So now they are, before we were actually physically walking it out to their car. Now most people are still doing that option. Plus there's no shipping fee with that. So that works kind of nicely for people. But now they're coming into the store typically to pick it up, which we would definitely still run it out to the car. But I think it is, I think something like that is a positive that has come from this time frame, that it made us think of things that, why didn't we always offer that option?
Right.
So it made us reevaluate and think of things maybe a little differently that could be things that stay on indefinitely that way.
Yeah. One of the things that you mentioned the day that I saw you was that you were going to be expanding the hours, so the number of days per week that you were open at Dwell, but not quite as many days at Idiom. And part of that, you were gauging with the decision making based on what the other businesses on the block were doing. So where do you stand right now?
Absolutely.
And tell me about like the communication with the other businesses on the block.
No, it's an ever evolving thing. I would say we had a merchant meeting this weekend. Shops at Yale keep updating all of our hours as we all keep changing. It is changing pretty continually. So I started with Dwell doing both stores. January, February, March were Wednesday through Saturday. And then at Dwell, I added the Tuesdays and the Sundays. And the Tuesdays were nice foot traffic that way. So I added those at Idiom. So right now, Dwell is still open the Tuesdays through Sundays, just closed the Mondays. And Idiom is now open Tuesday through Saturday. So, and thinking, and we're testing. So we used to be open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Right now we are open 10 to 5. And at Dwell, both stores are open 10 to 5. At Dwell, we're going to try doing the 6 o'clock on Fridays to see how it is. So I feel like small increments to see, just because staffing, obviously, I can't be in both, so that is payroll then expense that way. So I want to make sure that the moves we are making are monetarily make sense in order to expand. So doing it slowly and then evaluating as we go along.
So you're doing some math. Right. Okay.
World retail. That's part of world retail. You're always doing that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, figuring out the bottom line. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you have other questions, Juan, that you wanted to ask of?
No, I could just keep going, but I found that I think everything that what I'm learning with this interview is that there's really an ecosystem within the Yale shops that I didn't know about, and there's a lot of support, and it seems like you are like there's like a world in if you're connected to the Yale shops, it gives you like perhaps more advertising, more exposure, and even I can imagine that. So I think it's interesting because I guess the other day I read that Yale has about 130,000 alumni. So that's quite a network that you could potentially tap into as you go into that network, which is interesting. And I guess the fact that Yale is constantly bringing people from abroad, what place in the world. Do you think that that's one element that is key to your business, to have like global presence?
I think for everybody downtown, I think that we all realized how important the university was from a retail restaurant standpoint. However, during this past year and a half with not having them be fully here, it's like mind-blowing the amount of different in foot traffic and everything that they do bring. And yes, we would definitely get lots of international people visiting the campus, touring the campus in as guest speakers, professors. So there was definitely that influx. Idiom is more catered to a professional clientele. So I would say for the most part, a 40 plus. So not having faculty and the other departments, offices in working downtown, being remote, definitely did impact the Monday through Friday business. I mean, our busiest time of the day would be typically noon to 3 when somebody was on their lunch hour and wanted to go shopping instead. So that was impacted. So I'm very much looking forward to September, when hopefully there are more people in all offices, not just Yale, but offices around the greater New Haven community being filled up again, and seeing those, the foot traffic numbers increase Monday through Friday. It was interesting to see a lot of people that I think used to work downtown weekday Saturdays throughout this entire time, pretty much. I mean, obviously not right in the beginning, but Saturdays have been pretty continual. So I think a lot of people that used to work downtown that weren't on a Saturday when they had the free day still miss New Haven and wanted to come to their favorite spots that way. So the Saturdays were continually steady. So that was interesting to see.
So to kind of avoid that, I'm not saying that we're going to have another pandemic anytime soon, God forbid. But if we were to have a situation, or has this prepared you in any way to better cope with situations like this?
I definitely would say it has. Yes. Right. I think you take everything now with a little grain of salt, like not things that used to maybe make me anxious. And, I'm pretty detail oriented and kind of like to know the pathway, where none of us knew. So you kind of just have to go with the flow a little more to a certain extent. And I think that is a positive that, for me personally, as a takeaway, that we can't control a lot of things in life, and this definitely, you kind of had to look at the positives that did exist and go from there. Most definitely.
Yeah, agreed. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add or ask before we go?
I'm all right.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you both again, Kimberly Pedrick, who owns both Dwell and Idiom on Chapel Street in New Haven, and Juan Salas-Romer, who's the owner and founder of Juan Co-working, known co-working, where I'm sitting right now. And I'm going to say goodbye to both of you while I close up, but if you'll stick around for a moment, that would be great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And I want to remind you that even if you're watching the recording, you can put comments. We'll make sure that Kimberly gets them. And this coming Tuesday, Julie will be doing her weekly episode of Digital Media Sync at 8:30. That streams live on Facebook every Tuesday morning. And then the next episode of this show will be 2 weeks from today. That's Wednesday the 16th at 2 p.m. And we'll feature Rosa Carrasco Vergara. She is a virtual assistant, and she's going to be talking about what is a virtual assistant, what they do, how to find a good one, and then some do's and don'ts for working with virtual assistants. If you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're a brand new entrepreneur, you are not going to want to miss this show. All right, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Have a great afternoon. Thanks again.